the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. What is the first one here? ISRO delays a Proba 3 launch by a day. Anomaly detected. There is one important word. Anomaly, aberration. Sorry for the delay. I hope everything is okay. Anomaly means what? A defect, an aberration, something unexpected. You can also think of expressions like technical glitch, technical problem, and some sort of defect. Anomaly detected. Based on that, ISRO delays a Proba 3 launch by a day. Delays by a day. You have to look at the phrase by a day. Forced to return. Common error, redundancy based. Return back. Right or wrong? Return back, wrong. Return means to come back. You cannot say return back. Rahul stopped en route to Sambal. En route means on the way. On the way, good warrior. Wrong. On the way to a particular place, en route. Important expression. Directive to 5 states. SC asked for facts on illegal sand mining. Illegal sand mining. Simple words, easy to understand. Data point. We have got many a time. Datum singular, data plural. Data, when used as a collective noun, takes a singular verb, but otherwise, as a plural of datum, takes a plural verb. User fee at toll plazas. According to government data, 2.4 lakh crore has been collected. Since inception. Answer my question, has been collected. Which tense is that? And is it active voice or passive voice? Has been collected. I have collected something. Something has been collected by me. Good morning to all of you. Present perfect, passive voice. Very good. Little stars, warrior, Nandini, I appreciate your response. Has been collected since inception. Inception means launching, starting point, beginning. Since the beginning, the time of launching, collected. Here context talks about past to present. So we have to use present perfect tense. And there's one important word you have to focus on. What is that word? Since. We have 2 prepositions. One since, the other one for. They can be prepositions, they can be conjunctions. And here prepositions. What is the difference? When we talk about specific time, we have to use since. When we talk about the time period, we have to use for. A common error I see in the newspapers also, advertisements, they say, we have been in this business for since 10 years. Wrong. We have been in this business for 10 years. What is the reason? 10 years is a time period. Then we cannot use the word since. Ding and Gukesh in 5th straight draw. Another stalemate. Something comes to a dead end, no solution, especially chess, we use the word stalemate. Let us go to the next snippet over here. Dhankar's stance triggers walkout. Stance, you can also say stand. Someone's stand means his opinion. Whatever he thinks, he or she thinks. And that has resulted in what? Walkout. A lot of people leave a particular place, we say, as a protest. Mark of protest, walkout. What is the main headline from today's The Hindu front page? All these politicians, they look very happy, all smiles. Fadnavis to be sworn in, passive voice, as Maharashtra CM today. That's why they all look happy. And all these, they're going to form a coalition government. All the important leaders over there. We have a snippet here with an important word. Yunus involved in genocide, says Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina points out, accuses Yunus. What is accusation? He is involved in genocide. That's an important word. Try to guess. Genocide means what? Finally decided. Ah, yes, a smile. They had spent a lot of time. Genocide means killing people of a particular race or community on a large scale. Imagine there's a particular race or a particular community. People of that particular race, people of that particular community killed on a large scale. The word genocide. Side means to kill. Genocide, killing people of a particular race or community. Important word. As a smart learner, when you see the word genocide, race or community, that's a very controversial term, race. I cannot, that goes more with anthropology. And when it comes to side suffix, as a smart learner, you have to think of other words ending in the suffix side. Suicide, patricide, matricide, genocide, and insecticide, pesticide, infanticide, feticide. All these, fratricide, you have to recollect. We have one more. Syrian troops launch offensive against militants. Simple words we have got many a time. Farm to grain. You have a pic over here. Looks like deals with farming, farmers. Based on that, farm to grain. But what is the news item? Farmers are threshing paddy in Tetelia village on outskirts of Gauhati on Wednesday. Harvest time. Crops harvesting, collecting the fruits of labor. After sowing seeds, cultivating the plants, then you harvest whatever you want from the plant. Harvest time. Threshing, an important word. And paddy in Tetelia village on the outskirts. There's an important phrase. A common error, a lot of people say in the outskirts, wrong. On the outskirts, you have to remember the preposition. India backs UN resolution calling on Israel to leave Palestine. Here, back means to support. India supports UN resolution. What is it? Calling on Israel to leave Palestine. Israel has to leave Palestine. Here we have one snippet. You can see a person trying to shoot with a revolver. Badal survives assassination bid at Golden Temple. The attacker being stopped by security personnel outside the Golden Temple in Amritsar on Wednesday. This guy wanted to kill Badal and he took out a revolver, but his security men stopped him. Survives assassination. Resolution means a decision. Simple. Now this is which month? December. On December 31st night, on the eve of the new year, people take resolution. They go in for resolutions. We use the expression New Year resolutions. Means a decision not to do something, a decision to do something. Imagine there's a person who smokes. On the eve of the new year, he may take the New Year resolution. His New Year resolution could be stop smoking, quit smoking. But usually these resolutions for some time, 1 or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 months, after some time, back to square one, back to the pavilion. Why? There is a saying in English. What is that saying? Habits die hard. Means it is very difficult to change one's habits, especially bad habits. Not easy. Habits die hard. And assassination, trying to kill some important person like a leader or the PM or the Prime Minister, the President of a country, we use the word assassination. Here bid means attempt. South Korean opposition moves to impeach President Yoon for declaring martial law. I read out this yesterday. MPs in South Korea, they protested. They are not happy with the martial law imposed by the South Korean president. Not at all happy. Opposition, obviously, back to the familiar, back to square one, back to the pavilion. Here, impeach, officially the president or the prime minister is removed. Then we use the word impeach, impeachment of the president. There's a procedure. Through the procedure, imagine the president has to lose his position. It is known as to remove. Nandini, very good, simple. To remove someone from the position through a particular process, especially the prime minister, the president, we use the word impeach. And martial law, using the soldiers or the army. Protesters demonstrate against South Korean President Yoon in Seoul on Wednesday. The second page, let us see what is here. Events to blend spirituality with entertainment at Kumbh Mela. Here, blend means what? Mix. So they want to, Kumbh Mela events, they want to blend or mix one thing spirituality, the other thing entertainment. Sentence says, events to blend spirituality with entertainment at Kumbh Mela. Pollution. Delhi police NCR counterparts hold meeting. Counterpart we have got a few times. What does it mean? Imagine there's a company with branches in different countries. The manager who is in India and the manager who is in the US, how do they refer to each other? They have to say, he is my counterpart or she is my counterpart at the same level. Delhi police NCR counterparts hold meeting. We have a pic over here and let's see what it says. Hindu monks threaten more protests against attacks in Bangladesh. You all know minorities are being attacked in Bangladesh. Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, all these are being attacked. Persecution, we use the word. And they want to protest against that. Protest will go on. West UP farmers at Mahapanchayat. So many times protest, protest, protest. What do we have here? Rajasthan CM unveils the policies to promote investment and boost state's economic growth. We have got this word many a time. Unveil means what? In a way, Buddhist monk, saint also you can say. Unveil means to make public. You should recollect words like divulge, disclose, reveal, make public, unveil. But usage is very important. Will give 200 units of free electricity if we return to power in Bihar. Tejashvi. That's a political promise at the time of elections. Angioplasty deaths. Police arrest hospital director. Odisha saw 5.20 lakh dog bite cases in 2 years, says state government. 5.2 lakh dog bites. Dog bite cases in 2 years, span of 2 years. Imagine about 5 lakh in 2 years, dog bite cases. That is something disturbing, shocking. According to, says state government. Make Bengal your muse. CM appeals to foreign filmmakers. Muse, an important word. It means what? It has 2 or 3 meanings. One meaning in this context, it goes with painters, photographers, directors, and producers. You have a subject, could be a place, could be a person, could be anything that inspires you to do some creative work. Source of inspiration, you can say. For a painter, a beautiful model can be a source of inspiration. Then we use this word. What is that? Okay. Arunachal government batting for dam developers, says activist. Bat for means to support, not a regular cricket batting. Batting for something means supporting something, giving the support for some particular idea. That's all about from the headlines, whatever we have. Lack of time, I could not get the regular format. I'll do the editorial. I will show it and I'll do the analysis. And many words are quite familiar. Been quite busy, that's why no time to design. But I'm sure you will get enriched. What is this? It's an important editorial. A cut in time. Related to what? Thank you very much, Naveen. Thanks for understanding. A cut in time. You cannot make out, but let us see. Economic costs of ban on plastic must be seen with its ill effects on health. There are two dimensions here. One is economic costs. Is the font clear? One is economic costs of ban on plastic. That is one thing. Must be seen with its ill effects on health. What ill effects on health? What causes ill effects? Obviously, plastic. Thank you very much. Clear? Good. We have to balance these two. Economic cost of ban on plastic must be seen with its ill effects on health. Despite a week of wrangling, what is the meaning of wrangling? We have got a few times. There is a brand also, jeans, a Wrangler. Wrangle means to fight, a wrangler, fighter. It goes with Western culture. Despite a week of wrangling means that despite a week of fighting, an ambitious endeavor. Ambitious endeavor. We have got all these words many a time, except one word, other words are easy. And ambition, you all have an ambition to get a government job. And all of you are ambitious youth. That is a combination I use. Ambitious youth. That's a very good thing. Dream to achieve something. Endeavor. Endeavor has many meanings. In this context, an effort towards something, a project, endeavor, a venture, all these words you have to think of. Ambitious endeavor means ambitious venture piloted by the United Nations Environment Program to phase out plastic turned out to be a failure. The very first sentence is on a negative note. It starts with a negative contrasting word, despite. Despite a week of wrangling, an ambitious endeavor piloted by the United Nations Environment Program to phase out, not all of a sudden, slowly, over a period of time, plastic turned out to be a failure. Turn out means proved to be. Turned out to be a failure means proved to be a failure. On a negative note, it starts the editorial. Then it has to provide the background information and what is the reason behind. The Global Plastics Treaty is a result of a resolution by member countries of the United Nations passed in 2022 to end plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. This sentence talks about the Global Plastics Treaty. What is this treaty? The sentence tells us. The Global Plastics Treaty is a result of a resolution by member countries of the United Nations passed in 2022. And what is that resolution? End plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. For those who don't know, I told day before yesterday also, environment has many dimensions. Today the most important dimension, one of the important dimensions I would say, marine pollution. You may get as a passage. Thank you very much. Who is that? Interesting. Thank you. Marine environment, including in the marine environment, very important. Over the next 2 years, countries met 5 times. From 2022, it talks about what exactly happened after 2022. The next sentence talks about that. Over the next 2 years, countries met 5 times, including the latest, billed as a final one. 5 times including the latest, including, important. Why is it important? When we combine two subjects using expressions like with, together with, along with, as well as, including, and not, like, unlike, besides, in addition to, no less than, the verb agrees with the first subject. That rule you have to recollect. Including the latest, and build as what? The latest one is build, means labeled or named, the final one, to create a broad framework agreement. Over the next 2 years, countries met 5 times, including the latest, labeled as the final one, to create a broad framework agreement. Agreement regarding what? Stopping or phasing out plastic. Then what happened? The UN resolution of 2022 was deemed historic as it gave the impression that the world was unanimous that plastic pollution could only be addressed through globally coordinated action. Initially, it looked like the resolution deemed means considered historic. The UN resolution of 2022 was considered deemed historic. Why? It looked positive. It gave the impression that the world was unanimous, means there is no division of opinion. The entire world was unanimous that plastic pollution could only be addressed through globally coordinated action. It says it was a resolution and it looked positive because entire world was unanimous. Unanimous regarding what? Stopping plastic production or finding out a solution through consensus. Entire world agrees and implements something that is going to work out. Globally coordinated action means no dispute, nothing. They all work together towards a particular solution. Then the writer introduces the contrasting word. However, it is a solution to the problem that has proven to be divisive. The solution has been divisive. Means what? They did not unanimously elected. Good, right combination. Means what? Some countries said something, other countries must have opposed, or they said something else. Division, divisive, not one and the same. However, it is a solution to the problem that has proven to be divisive. Means they got divided. Some countries this side, some countries on the other side. Of the nearly 170 countries gathered at the 5th round of meetings in Busan, roughly half led by European Union and supported by Pacific Island nations, were of the view that despite the usefulness of plastic and its significant role in enabling mass consumption through the modern era, its relative indestructibility was now an environmental hazard. Sometimes what happens, you come across lengthy sentences. In the exam also, if you take a particular passage, you may come across sentences where lengthy sentences and not easy to comprehend. Nothing to worry. Whenever you come across a lengthy sentence, you should read twice or thrice, looking at the subject, the verb, object, and the phrases and clauses used in the sentence. Then you will be able to comprehend. Where does it start and where does it end? I think it starts somewhere over here. Of the nearly 170 countries gathered at the 5th round of meetings in Busan, roughly half led by European Union and supported by Pacific Island nations. And these countries, what was their stand? They were of the view that plastic is useful, no one can deny that. It cannot be destruction, something cannot be destructed. Then we use indestructibility. And here it talks about plastic is useful beyond any doubt. Based on that, the writer has used the word despite. Despite the usefulness of plastic and its significant role in enabling mass consumption through the modern era, its relative indestructibility. What does it mean in this context? Biodegradable, non-biodegradable. You have to know two words. Plastic is a threat to the environment because it is not biodegradable. It is non-biodegradable. It remains for hundreds of years in the environment and it enters plants, animals. That way it becomes a threat. It becomes a hazard. Now an environmental, because of that, its relative indestructibility was now an environmental hazard. It has become a problem. The writer tells us how it has become a problem. This justifies that statement. It had begun, began, begun. Here it had begun. It is in past perfect tense. It had begun to seep into the bodies of animals, both of the land and sea, and had progressed to be much more than an eyesore. Initially, we thought an eyesore. Plastic everywhere, eyesore we thought. Eyesore means something that is not good to look at, something that is ugly. You don't feel like looking at that, then we say it is an eyesore. Initially, people thought litter everywhere, plastic, carry bags, everything. Initially, people thought only an eyesore, but it is more than that. More than an eyesore in form of litter flowing out of overwhelmed municipal recycling systems. It has become a menace. The claim that better recycling and reuse will redeem the situation. There is a claim. What is that claim? Better recycling and reuse will redeem the situation, makes the situation better. Exactly. The thing that cannot be demolished. Praveen, very good. I appreciate that. These nations believe is a pipe dream and therefore imposing gradual cuts on the source of plastic, virgin polymer, was the only effective route to ending plastic pollution. What do these countries believe? It talks about that. The claim that better recycling and reuse will redeem the situation, these nations believe, is a pipe dream. All those European Union countries and the Pacific Island nations, they believe recycling, reuse, it is a pipe dream, means not going to happen. It's a pipe dream, not real, it is not pragmatic. And based on that, they have something else as a solution. Therefore, imposing gradual cuts on the source of plastic. They want to stop the source of plastic. They don't want to depend on recycling, reuse. They feel it's a pipe dream. It is not going to happen. And they came up with a different solution. What is that solution? Stopping the production itself, the source itself. Imposing gradual cuts on the source of plastic, virgin polymer, was the only effective route to ending plastic pollution. That is their stand. But again, other countries like developing countries, India also comes under developing countries. These developing countries are not happy with that decision. Based on that, the writer starts with the contrasting word, however. However, many of the large developing countries and those with economies premised on the extraction of oil and petrochemical refining balk at such a proposal. Means not happy with that proposal. They try to oppose. They are not happy with that proposal. They view calls to cut plastic production as trade barriers masquerading as environmentalism. There is one important word. Means what? Disguise. Means to question, not being happy, questioning, not accepting, opposing. You can think of all these words. That's what I have said. Have you got exactly? Already Jayalakshmi has responded. Oppose, refuse, exactly. Very good, I appreciate that. Masquerading means disguise. What these countries feel, developing countries, large developing countries feel, these European countries and the Pacific Ocean nations, they are talking about this and it is nothing but they are trying to impose trade barriers as a disguise, and they are trying to masquerade, means use it as a disguise, trade barriers, and they are doing it in the name of environmentalism. They are trying to pass it on as part of environmentalism, but actually underlying factors, they are imposing trade barriers. They view the framing of the plastic pollution problem as one that requires a regulating production. Those countries are trying to regulate production, but developing countries are not happy with that particular stand. They view the framing of the plastic pollution problem as one that requires regulating production as something that goes beyond the intent of the 2022 resolution. All these countries, developing countries, feel trying to control production itself is not part of the 2022 resolution. Something more they feel, away from the actual intention. While talks have stalled, stalled means what? In this context, stopped. While talks have stalled, it is likely that countries will reconvene next year. They will meet next year. As of now, stalled means what? Stopped. They will meet next year. It is likely that countries will reconvene next year, possibly with a fresh perspective, and get beyond the impasse. Means what? The deadlock. They may come up with a solution. They may go beyond that dead end or deadlock more creatively. They may come up with a creative solution. Now the writer talks about the stand taken by India. India has chosen to side with the countries that are averse to production cuts. What is the bone of contention here? Bone of contention means what? Cause of dispute or the apple of discord. What is it? Those countries want to stop production of plastic. Developing countries are not happy with that decision. They are averse to that decision. Averse means what? Not happy. You find something disgusting. You don't like something. Then what is the word you use? Averse. They are averse to this idea of focusing on production and stopping production. India has chosen to side with the countries that are averse to production cuts. Means they are not happy with the stand of cutting down the production. Yet, it must acknowledge that its capacity to recycle plastic is only about a third of the plastic that is annually introduced. We have another contrasting word. What is it? Yet. Though India is not happy with the cuts on production, India must admit something. What is it? Of the plastic that is introduced every year, India has the ability or the capacity to recycle only a third of that plastic. Means it is not ready to recycle and it does not have the expertise. It has to admit that. Yet it must acknowledge, means accept that its capacity to recycle plastic is only about a third of the plastic that is annually introduced. The indispensability of plastic to the economy. There is one important word I use quite often. Tell me what is the meaning of indispensable. Something is indispensable means what? Essential. You cannot do without that. Then we use the word indispensable. The indispensability of plastic to the economy cannot be a permanent excuse to delay action on evaluating its health impacts on people in India. The indispensability of plastic to the economy cannot be a permanent excuse. Today, those who want to continue with plastic, they may say, we cannot stop plastic. We have to continue because it is indispensable for the economy, for the growth of the economy. And they may give it as an excuse to continue with the plastic. But editorial opines that cannot be a permanent excuse to delay action on evaluating its health impacts on people in India. When they say economy is important, more than economy, a health of people of a particular country, important. They have to focus on that as well. Evaluating its health impacts on people in India, its ecology and marine environment. It should not focus only on the economic front. It should not think from the economic front point of view. It has to think of the ill effects of plastic on public health. How does it end? A planned exit is always better than finding oneself on the wrong side of history. Better to plan something, a planned exit. What exit here? What? Not using plastic. Exit from using plastic. A planned exit is always better than finding oneself on the wrong side of history. We continue production and we deal with plastic, we give excuses. It is then it is like being on the wrong side of history. Instead of that, it is better to do what? It is better. Planned exit is always better. They have to plan and exit exactly from using plastic. That's all for today, and I hope you guys have got enriched. A few words are here and there, but many words are quite familiar because I've done the editorial analysis related to environment, related to plastic many a time. That way it should be easy for you guys. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.